Hello and welcome to This Week in Cyberspace, coming to you from RightsCon 2025 in Taipei.
We made it!
We have thousands of activists gathering here and participating in this conference. It's the world's leading summit on human rights in the digital age. And Mohammed al-Maskati is one of those participants. He's a Bahraini human rights activist and digital security consultant for the Middle East and North Africa. That's quite a large job, Mohammed.
That's my old job. I'm having bigger job now.
What is your big job?
I'm the Digital Security Helpline Director at AccessNow. I'm covering more than Middle East.
I think what happened to you, Mohammed, was you started in Bahrain, then you went to the MENA region, and then you basically did global domination.
That's true. That's true. I think I want to do more impact. I started in Bahrain because I feel that it's my community. I need to support the activists because I'm part of that community. And I mean, in Bahrain is a really small country, so the activists, 20. Yeah, we know all of them. And then when I went to regional, I figured out that it's a big shoes to fill, and it's the risk is different than our country, Bahrain, and I see that, okay, that's what I want to do now. Then after 8 years working with Frontline, it's like, okay, I need to go to global because I need to do more impact on that side.
I reckon you're going to go galactic in a second. I know that there are some galactic activists out there who require digital security support, but it's actually not so stupid a thing to say, because a lot of the new forms of communication are actually satellite.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Nell and I, we did this really interesting podcast a few weeks ago, actually on the AccessNow report, on satellite and how satellite is being hacked, can be jammed, you can be triangulated through your device, etc. So I do think that this intergalactic or low Earth orbit satellites are providing a really interesting challenge for you, I would say.
I mean, all our life now is connected to the internet. I was looking on some of the dishwashers, and I find that dishwashers is connected to the internet. And it's like, why I need internet in dishwasher? Then I find I can control the dishwasher. Why? It's like, fine.
That controls you.
Yeah, that's how I put the dish inside the dishwasher. So I need to hire a robot to do that. I think our life is really connected to the internet, and that's bring a lot of risk. It's not only for human rights defenders, not anymore the risk now. The risk is for everyone have a device connected to the global, connected to the internet, and anyone using the internet, anyone have a phone device in their pockets. That's a risk. It's already risk coming to us directly inside. So I don't think now we're only talking about how human rights defenders or journalists at risk because of digital. It's everyone in the world at risk because of that.
How do we defend ourselves against all those sort of risks that come with the internet, like cyber surveillance and hacking and our data being stolen from us? I mean, not
to mention your identity.
I was about to say I had my identity stolen several times, completely deleted by Meta for no reason at all, other than I was, I wasn't that outspoken. But how can we ensure that we have stricter controls around our data?
The problem is that how much we provide that to the global, to the internet, is the question is how we can protect that information we provided, because we are the people who controlling our data, and if we provide more data, then all data will be available to everyone. And the problem is not only stealing your data, is how the abuse these data was stolen. Like we had a case that before someone, their data was stolen, used another attack, another hack, and then you will be the criminal because they don't know that your data was hacked. You will be in front of the court that this is your information that used by the hackers. And because a lot of people, to be honest, a lot of people get hacked, they don't inform the governments or the authorities that are responsible. They don't inform their neighbors, their families, and then this is like a chain. It started from you, it's go to your family, then go to your neighbors, then go your friend. Like someone hacked your WhatsApp and you don't inform everyone you have contact in WhatsApp, and that hacker will use your WhatsApp to hack other people's.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then what the WhatsApp is will block you because they don't know the other person. It will
Yes.
block you other
Okay,
person.
that's probably what happened to me.
Exactly. That's one of the things that we need to think about.
So I feel like, Mohammed, I have so many questions that I want to ask you, because you really are at the forefront of digital or human rights protection in the digital age. And we know that, as you say, the human rights defenders and activists from Bahrain all the way to Myanmar are increasingly under attack. And we know at some level that everybody is at risk.
Mhm.
You know, we know, but the risk profile changes, right? And
Exactly.
as you sort of head up or down the scale of like where you're located, the issues that you focus on, the community that you're part of, your identity. So if you were to sort of think about like in this last year, like what are the sorts of attacks that you are seeing, you know, on the front line? Like, are there new forms of spyware that are just, or is there a new hack that's, you know, as you say, like putting you in the position of being a criminal, even though you're actually the victim? Tell us like what you're seeing on the front lines.
Yeah. I mean, for last 2 years, we see spywares as one of the biggest crises in our community. Spyware being used in many places because it's, first of all, easy, right? Like, you just need to send a link. You don't need to click it. If this is a 0 click, like, you don't
Just
need
explain
to.
that 0 click thing, because it's really fascinating. The idea that, well, I'll try my best. The idea is that like the victim, the person who is being targeted, doesn't need to download the attachment anymore. They don't need to like click on a
link.
A link.
Yeah.
You can just receive it. You can be completely faultless. You can have the best practices in the world, right, and still be infected.
Exactly. That's what happened actually 3 weeks back when we were coordinating with WhatsApp to inform users that hundreds of users infected with spywares that they didn't even click on or just get a picture or a link or just a call, it will be infected. And that's actually one of the main concern that we have, spyware being used. And actually, if you look on spyware, the creator of spyware is became more advanced because now they use not only the operating system of our phones, but also using the apps that we have on the phones. And to be honest, we all have apps that we don't use and they still stay in our phones, and it's like
They're
really
a point of vulnerability.
Yeah, because no one is updating all the apps, or someone, they just like the developer decide to not use that. But recently, to be honest, Brett, we have a lot of cases of phishing where people receive the emails, they click on the link, then they find their account was hacked, Gmails and Facebooks and X already, Instagram hacked, and then after they hacked, using that account as a place to attack other accounts. And last few months, many people get hacked because one account hacked, then they attack the other one. Because when you if a Brett hacked, I will receive message from Brett. I don't know he hacked. I will trust the Brett. They will not send me a bad
You still trust
message.
me after all these years?
No, don't I will trust you.
Mohammed, who are these hackers? Why do they want to attack us? Why are they targeting us?
This is one of the things that we're trying to understand, because one of the attackers is directly the government. So they have operations, they use like teams and operation to attack you directly. But some of them is actually what we call hire for hack. So there is a company providing these services to the government, even not government. If you are a rich person and you want to hire this company, you can hack your wife, your boyfriends, your partners. And this is one of the challenges that we have, because these companies, they are not under control of anything. And the last things, people looking for money. They want to hack you because you have 1 million in your bank and they want to take that 1 million. So that's how they do it.
So internet banking is particularly vulnerable to hacking.
But they also know, like, they are the sad thing is, in a way, is that the banks have got hundreds of security professionals protecting their infrastructure and, of course, protecting their, users or their customers' accounts. But civil society has got this like ridiculously thin bench. Like there's an amazing activists who are trying to protect the rest of civil society, like Mohammed and his team at AccessNow. But it's very like, you know, you have all these organizations that are using old computers. They're using software that hasn't been updated. They're not cleaning the apps off their phone if they have a smartphone. And the whole thing that makes like the saddest thing is that this is often not just a case of people losing their money. They're actually losing their lives or their liberty, you know, when you're an activist and a human rights defender. I have a question for you because I think
I just want to add you one of this. Money is not bringing security. That's what we find, because we have a lot of cases that staff in these banks being social engineering.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And people, these staff hacked, like the IT staff hacked in the bank. Then they use that staff computer to hack the whole customers.
Yeah.
So sometimes we need to understand is how you change yourself, your behavior towards dealing with all these applications and technology.
So we clean our phones of apps we're not using.
Digital
What other
hygiene.
tips? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the best things I will say to someone, like just to protect their devices, clean your devices from apps they don't use, protect your device with passwords, not with pattern or just a fingerprint. And remember,
that's interesting. So you think that the password is safer than the fingerprint?
Definitely.
Wow.
Definitely.
That's a major.
Because
and facial ID, you know?
Exactly. It's better than the facial ID and because password is encrypted.
We're learning things.
It's
When we're learning things, I mean, they sold us, you know, they sold us as like, give us your identity and we'll keep your data safe. Like, give us your biometrics and but you're actually saying that password 123 exclamation mark is safer?
No, definitely not 123, Brett, but at least a password that's going to protect you.
But I think the problem is that we're going on to these apps and we're constantly ticking the terms and agreements.
Yes.
And signing up to all sorts of things we can't be bothered reading about because it's just too much information. So that is something that we need to address.
Definitely, because if you sign a contract, do you read the contract? You don't need it. Like if you sign a contract saying that
did you sign the contract to come on this podcast?
No, I didn't.
We have a release form for you over here with our question assistant here.
We've only got a few minutes. I want to ask you something that I think is really important, and that is around technology and conflict. And you saw the internet shutdown report that basically found that the number one reason for an internet shutdown now is conflict. And as the world becomes less safe and technology becomes more prevalent, how are you seeing the role of the citizen or the activist in the context of a conflict zone using these new technologies? And how do we respond to that in that heightened level of insecurity?
Look, in conflict, the most things is how to expose human rights violations happening in this conflict. Without these citizen and human rights defenders on the ground, we will not have these news abroad, like what's happening in Ukraine or Gaza or other places. If there is no one reporting that to public, we will have a big black of what we don't know what's happening, and we will not know what's happening inside these countries, and the human rights violation will be continued. Technology, to be honest, help a lot to expose that, help to give us a voices, to let the people know and the words and how we are doing, and even help us in digital security. Now, even we have a conflict opinions between time to time about AI and how the AI and ChatGPT. But now, if you ask ChatGPT, I want a digital security tips, ChatGPT will say, okay, contact the helpline because they can help you. Yeah, and that's what
ChatGPT is. Oh my God,
has a helpline.
You mean the AccessNow helpline?
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Yeah, so that's one of the things that it's changing. The world is changing.
Okay.
Mohammed, what an amazing
our first interview
with you. So informative and so great to meet you here at RightsCon. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And we'll be back with more amazing participants in RightsCon 2025 shortly. Over there.
Great.
Well,
thank you. That was great. This side.
Mohammed, that was
I hope all our interviews are as good as that one is. Excellent.